Hey, I'm Pascal from Orangepixel, and today's topic is something that I don't think I've covered it on this channel ever before, which is weird because it's a pretty big thing when you're releasing games. And releasing games, Nathan Harai Gorshi on the Orangepixel Discord is about to release his first game. Now he's doing it together with Adam from Cosmo Cat Games, and the game is Astral Flux, and I'll show it around here, I think, maybe on the over there. It's a fun little platformer, roguelike platformer, and it's very interesting to see that whole process as Nathan is going through the steps of releasing his first game and kind of losing his game release virginity. Yeah, and I find it interesting to watch. But that's probably not a topic for this week's video. This week's video is about what happens when you release a game and people start dropping their reviews and their opinions. You need a thick skin, and I talked about this a little bit with Nathan just earlier this week, telling him what's coming, and I want to talk about it on this channel as well. So after the intro, let's talk about how to deal with player reviews and their opinions and everything that comes once you actually release a game. And it's a lot. There's a lot coming. If you're lucky. If nobody sees your game, nothing is coming. But with a little bit of luck, there's stuff coming, which isn't good stuff, but it's coming. It's complicated. Okay, so I have a list for this because it's just a bunch of little things that you have to be aware of when you're dealing with reviews and feedback from gamers and all that. So I couldn't remember all this because it's a lot that just has to happen naturally in your head, which a lot of stuff happening in my head, and I only need this part of it, I guess. But the first thing, and that's the main important thing, and this probably goes for all social media, when you're reading something, you're reading it in your own way, in your own idea of what that person is, how that person is saying it. So a sentence like, why did the developers do that? What were they thinking? That's how you read it. But it could also be a genuine question from the person who wrote it. What were the developers thinking? Why did they do it this way? Which is a lot nicer to read and to understand, and it's a lot nicer question. The other one is very aggressive, but what originally was written was an honest question. So when I read stuff, I try to always just read it in the most positive way that I can. And even if it's meant in a very terrible way, I will still read it in just the most positive way I can, and that way it doesn't hurt as much or it doesn't sting as much, and you can also answer much easier and much better and calmer. And that's the key thing to all of this. Try to stay calm and don't let it get to you. Grow a very thick skin and remember all these little tips I'm giving you in this video. Now the second very important thing here is that negative reviews hurt more. There will be more of them than positive reviews because people that don't like things like to complain. So as soon as somebody buys your game, plays it for like 5 minutes, doesn't really like what's happening or is frustrated for whatever reason, they will immediately quit the game and drop a review and tell everybody in the whole world that they don't like this at all and it's not a good thing and nobody should like it at all because, well, they don't like it. That's pretty much it. People who do like your game will most likely start your game, play your game, keep playing your game until they are exhausted or tired or want to do something else. And whatever, they will actually forget or not even think about leaving a review and telling the world that they should all get this game. Unless they are very excited, then those are the very cool and positive reviews. But most people will just play your game, like it, enjoy it, and then move on. Maybe come back to the game, but in most cases they will not leave a review. You really have to ask people to leave a review, especially if they like your game. And also a negative review, as just mentioned, it lands a lot harder in your head than positive. You probably need like 20 positive reviews to deal with that one negative review, and that one negative one will linger on in your head much longer than all the positive ones. That's also a fact, and you'll really get to learn that pretty quickly. You have to let it loose, let it go, ignore it, it happens. It's about how to deal with the content in that negative review and what you can do about that. There are some cool things you can do with it, and there are some positive things you can spin it, and that's more importantly. Just prepare yourself for a bunch of negative feedback and comments and reviews. Those people will just drop the comment and move on, so you shouldn't linger on those comments at all. They probably dropped it and forgot about it and are already dropping negative reviews on other game pages, because that's how they move on to the next game until they find something they like, which is probably the game they already owned for 10 years. But don't let it linger in your head too long. It's not really that important. So one of the first things you could and probably should do is learn how to read between the lines. So ignore like all the fluff that's in the comment and really pinpoint the issue or the problem, and try to focus on that problem by gently replying to can you give some more specifics about the issue you're having. Always, especially on PC, ask for the specifications of their PC. There might just be software running on the background that's pretty much interfering with the controls or whatever. Things like that happen. So try to get as much detail and information, and try to stay calm in a positive way, because you might be able to turn around their negative review into a positive, which would be the best outcome of all of this. And it's just trying to just breathe in, breathe out, and then gently reply with the best solution you can. Ask for the specifics. If somebody has a controller issue, that's often used in reviews. The controls are terrible, they suck, I don't like them. This can often mean a bunch of different things. It might not be the controls, it might just be that the game is running windowed, smaller or tinier and not full screen, and that might actually be the issue, because then this sounds ridiculous, but things like this honestly happen. Everybody knows everything about games, but very few people know exactly what's going on inside a game, except for the developer who made it. So what might feel like jumping height or movement or whatever could very well be something very different that the developer created on purpose, but it's just not functioning or working out as you expect it to, and some players just don't like it. There might be screen shake going on, and people might complain about the camera system. It's very hard to figure out what exactly is meant, so best way is to ask for like a video or animation or screenshot pinpointing the problem. At least give it that effort, and if they are willing to put in that effort to explain the real problem, you might be able to turn around that negative review. Just give it your best and stay positive. It's also very common for people to come up with suggestions on how to change things or improve things and all that. Don't jump on every idea that people drop in reviews or in forums or everything. Just that one gamer would prefer it this way instead of the way you created it doesn't mean that their way is going to be better for everyone or interesting for everyone. You have to figure out if more people think like that, and preferably they come to that conclusion on their own and not just chime in on what the first person said, because then it's more a group thing going with the flow. You really want honest opinions from everybody, and sometimes their suggestions could be good, could be interesting. Try to incorporate it, because updates are also a good thing to have, especially if it's based on user feedback. Just keep in mind that not every idea people or players come up with makes the game better, and in some cases they come up with ideas on how things should be, but you already tried it during development phase and you went another direction, and that's fine. It's your game and this is how you wanted to make it. So try to find that fine line between their ideas and their suggestions on what they want, and also what you actually think would help the game eventually. And that can be difficult. So I usually just answer these comments and suggestions with good idea or possible idea. I'll put it on a list and we'll look at it as soon as we get some time, because during release and during all that stuff, you usually don't have time to do updates, and you want to make sure you are mostly doing bug fixes at first, because updating stuff and changing stuff that soon in a game release, like in the first couple of weeks, it can be very difficult. So just try to focus on actual bugs first, and of course breathe in, breathe out, and you will be fine, hopefully. And one more suggestion, don't start reading the comments from day one. You really need to be in a good mindset You really need to be able to deal with negative and bad stuff. It might not happen. It might be very positive stuff at first. Just try to be in a good mindset when you're reading reviews and feedback. I usually don't read all the reviews anymore or gamer feedback on games that have been released for a while. But at the start, when you just release something, you want to make sure that the game is running for everybody, that the game is working and functioning and people aren't running into the same problem or issue and can't continue playing the game, because that's the most important thing for me. I want people to enjoy my whole game from start to finish as much as possible, and if they run into issues, I want to know about that as much as possible, as soon as possible, be able to fix them and make sure that they are enjoying the game that they bought. They put money into this. They need to get something out of it. So you have to read the gamer feedback, reviews, things like that. Just make sure you are up for it. Really sit down for it and clear your head, and then make sure you can handle all the negative things people write, if they are writing that, but also take in some of the positive and just figure out the real issues. And if there are no real issues, you can start diving into replying to the negative people and see if you can maybe turn them around to a positive gamer that spreads the word about your game and will maybe get 2 or 3 other people to buy the game, and then it will grow, hopefully. And this is all just about player reviews and feedback, which is the most important thing. There are of course also reviews and game sites, and they will also give their opinion. If you're lucky, again, a lot of sites will ignore your game completely, but if you're lucky, 1 or 2 will pick it up and they will give their opinion on the game. Also telling people to either, well, ignore this game, you can buy it if it goes on sale, things like that happen, or buy it, it's a freaking good game, go get it. That also happens, but that's usually very easy to digest, but the other 2 are a little bit harder. So thick skin, stay calm, make sure you read everything in a positive way, because it doesn't mean the other person is typing it very angrily. They might just be very happily typing negative words, and they might not even mean it like that, just doing their thing, dropping their opinion, moving on to the next game, not even thinking about you or your game anymore. So you should also make sure to not have it linger in your head. Just read it, see if you can deal with it, fix problems where you can, and move on. And that's pretty much how I've been dealing with it. I can take a lot of negative stuff, especially on the internet. Sorry, but there's just a lot of people that go mental on the internet. And just try to read it in a good way and positive way, and yeah, you will be fine. And this is personal for you, Nathan. You will be fine. And everybody else, go check out Astral Flux. It's releasing, I think, tomorrow after this video goes live, the 28th, 29th. It's gonna be releasing. I'll put a link to the Steam page in the description below. Go check it out. I've played it for a bit, and yeah, it's fun. It's so some inspiration there from Residual. I'm pretty sure I saw Nathan work and start on this project when I was working on Residual, and I see some similarities. It's a pretty cool environment. Also, it has a DeLorean time machine like spaceship travel thing in there. How could it be a bad game, honestly? So go check out Astral Flux. And thanks for watching. If you have more feedback for this, drop on the Discord or on the comments below, and I will see you next week. I think I covered pretty much everything. So, bye!